my little friend. Guess she's gonna have sawdust all over her today. Are you ready to build a farmhouse table and some benches? That's what we're about to do. So just so you understand, I've left the links to the table plans and everything in the description of this video. This isn't my design. I was looking through YouTube and trying to look at different examples of farmhouse tables that people had done, and I like this design a lot. The guy that I watched his video, he just showed himself working and didn't really explain anything. I'm kind of like an explain type of guy, so I thought I would explain. So I'm going to cut the 4x4s down for the base of the table, and they're going to be 29 inches. There's going to be a notch cut in the bottom about 1.5 inches long. So that's what I'm working on now. Now I'm going to notch this out using this. That's ugly. Okay, so these are the notches that you'll cut out. I measured 6, and then I measured 9.5, and I measured down 1.5 inches. So that's going to be cut out. It'll end up looking like that after you kind of whittle it away with a chisel, and I'd recommend a sharp chisel, so make sure you have a sharpener with you. I tried using this miter saw, and it wasn't real effective. Using the circular saw, as long as you push it all the way through, works just really good, and it's much faster. That's what I like to do to give me my outline, and then I just chop it apart now. That's what you're left with, and then this just breaks apart. Depending on how thin you get it, it's a little bit easier, and I just clean it up with a chisel. After you break those things apart, that's what you're left with, and I'll just use this to flatten it out. For those of you who don't know, the angle that the chisel should go should match with how it lays down naturally. That's how I'm doing this. And I sharpen it in between uses so it's nice and sharp. So I'm not really trying to dig down too much. I'm just trying to knock out little spiny ridges that I can tell that are down there. It's like in the end, I'm reasonably satisfied with it. We'll see how it fits together, and if I need to clean it up, I will. We've got 2 more of these to do, so I better get to it. So I'm back here again. I guess this is called a dado joint, I guess. So I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a bunch of these in this table. So that's how it looks. I'm going to glue and drill in 2 3-inch screws. Recommend checking your angles to make sure you're square before you start putting in screws. Check out this feature. When you readjust this thing has a clip to this, and it can just spin around. So it's pretty easy to reconfigure over here. It calls for a 1/2 inch gap right here. So I take this 1/2 inch boards and cut it, put underneath it. I'm just going to go ahead and throw the screws in. They're 2.5 inch screws. Got that done. Looks nice and solid. I like to use a clamp to put 2 boards together so that way I can ensure that they're uniform. That's what I do anyway. Let me do something different. Okay, these are 67 inches and they go in with the same inset, so use that and that. My advice is to try to make sure you square it up so you don't put a whole lot of tension on the screws if you're putting it at the wrong angle. Just bring it flush to here. I'm going to put this bottom apron board on. It said to use this pocket hole system, but it didn't really explain. I'm just drilling holes straight down and through. I'm being real careful to watch my depth. That's what I'm doing. Yourself, I suggest getting some clamps. It makes things a lot easier. I just leveled this up, put up my holes. These clamps are also useful because my joint was pretty tight and it brought it in there nice and flush. Wow, it's a substantial table, let me tell you. One thing that I noticed is my screw protruding a little bit, so I had to back out the screws a little bit. One thing I did was I put a 3-inch screw just a regular one, not a pocket screw through the top. I wasn't satisfied with how much it was snug. I went ahead and put on my wood filler. So if you guys are new to woodworking, wood filler is like the caulk of wood. So it hardens up after a day, and a little bit less than a few hours. So I put it on kind of chunky. You might do it differently. That's how I do it, because all this is gonna get sand. So I just make sure that I fill the cracks and pack it in there pretty good. On the holes, I push it in, because when it dries it'll shrink back a little bit. So if you're looking for a nice even contour, what I like about this is it's just super solid, and the frame's really good. So I'm gonna get to the tabletop, I guess. Got all this laid out. That's a 10-inch, neither is. And it said to cut it to 70.5 inches. And it says to attach one side at a time, one board at a time. So I picked approximately 8 inches to do these pocket holes. Every 8 inches or so, you start from this, and I'm going to turn around and do the other side. I'm also going to two of these. I wish I would have had a third one. I'm about to switch one of these on the end to the middle, just to get a little tighter. The ends fit together a little bit better, and then I'm going to get to the other side. This is my joint. Ends up looking really nice. I'm done with 60 grit sandpaper. I'm about to go to 80. I am getting ready to do some belt sanding on this to knock off some of the edges. Then I'm going to fill it with wood filler. It's glued. It's sat there for a day almost. I need to put the end boards, they call them the bead boards, on. I figure I'm going to sand the grain this way, and that way I don't mess it up. So I'm going to get on that today, later. Now I'm going to also, while that's the wood putty's drying, I'm going to go over this with a couple more rounds of sandpaper and get it prepped to paint. I'm going to paint it white today, and you know, hopefully I can finish up the bead boards over here and a lot of the sanding. So get ready for it if you're going to do a project like this. If you want it to turn out nice, you need to sand it plenty. I know I have. So anyway, that's what I'm on. So I am going to make the pocket holes for the bead boards that go on the ends right now, and attach it with some glue, and I think then I'm going to take a break and go out on the lake. I have sanded down the top of the table, and it looks really good. I took it down from 60 all the way down to 100, so on the grit of the sandpaper, so it's looking really good. I decided I was going to do this completely separate because of the grain of the wood and everything. I didn't want to mess it up, so I'm going to drill these holes and get it attached, and then, you know, probably tomorrow I'll finish up sanding that and paint the base, and maybe I'll, you know, get to staining the top of the table. The one thing I will say is this is a little bit more of a project than I thought. I'm being kind of anal with it too, because it's such a beautiful table. I really didn't think it was going to be this pretty, but I'm really spending a lot of time with it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and then hopefully here pretty soon we'll be out there. That's what it looks like with the bead board. I did the spacing every 6 inches on these to make it a little more firm. I put a lot of glue in there. I did this every 8 inches. One of the tricks that I used was drawing a line so I could match everything up, and then I could level it. It's better. I did these flush just using the pressure in my hand. If I had it to do over again, I'd do them all individually, like I did these. I kind of braced them up there and made better holes, I think. One other trick that I use is I put a big bucket of water right here to make sure everything flattened down, and I stood on this because there was a little bit of bow. I noticed if I had it to do over again, I would have made sure that I did that on every one of the planks as I put them together this way. There was a little bit of irregularity, so it caused me to do more sanding. So I'm going to do a quick sand of this tomorrow after this dries, and it'll be ready to stain. So green came out, looks really pretty. This just looks really great to me. So I'm going to be happy when it's done and I can eat on it. But if you notice all of the lumber here, we've got 2 benches to do. So it's never ending, but maybe the benches will go a little faster than all of this. This base went quite a bit faster compared to the tabletop. So it's about time to paint this. I get the sanding done, and I finish up filling in. Have cracks and everything with the wood putty. This is drying. That's the top part of my table. I haven't sanded the end pieces yet, but I got the wood putty and the cracks. I decided to make it a little tighter. Some people make these a little more loose, but it started to look so good, I just wanted to make it nicer. I have a friend, he says I'm too anal, so that's why this table's taken me so long, apparently. My crazy habits. But I just want to make it super duper nice, and I'm gonna labor at this. So there's probably no possibility that I'm gonna get just one coat of paint on this, I would assume. I've got some good paint. Crazy how much paint is these days. I get the nicest bear paint that they had, and this is like 40 bucks, I'm gonna say, at Home Depot before my discount. So I'm gonna get on it. I'm uploading a video for you guys about our lake day yesterday, therefore I can't listen to my music, so hopefully that video will upload quickly, but it's like 2.3 gigs, so apparently it's gonna take a while. Anyway, wish me luck. Alright, first coat's done. You just gotta twist around in a bunch of places to get underneath the paint. But otherwise it came out pretty nice. I'm gonna sand it and put another coat on. I'll be done with that. I don't know if I have any paint on my face. I've got some on my shirt. This used to be my favorite shirt, but I wear them really hard, and it's about a year old, so figured it was time to be okay with using it as a painting shirt. It's been really messy. I always make sure to have a drop cloth. Okay, so yesterday I put a third coat of white paint on anything you can see that won't be covered up with the table, and I put a coat of polyurethane, oil-based, on that. I finished up my staining here, my sanding, and I put a coat of polyurethane as the underside of the table. I think it's the ugly side. So I didn't really focus a lot on sanding or anything here. You can see the glue kind of pops up, but I'm pretty happy with the color. I think the contrast with the white and the dark walnut's going to be really pretty. I am going to flip the table today. I'm going to pre-drill the holes in the base that will affix the tabletop to this, and I'm going to get the tabletop on there somehow. I've decided I'm going to support it with the base, and then I'm going to stain it and do the coat of polyurethane on the top side, and probably do a couple coats there, since that'll be the pretty side. But this thing weighs a ton, and I'm going to probably call my neighbor Steve to see if he wants to come over and help me lug this thing around. Okay, so I'm laying this out, getting ready to place it, and what I did is I measured and I found what center will be when mounting it. So 5 inches this way and 2 1/4 inches that way. And I marked it on one side here, so I'm kind of hoping that I can use this to line it up, and then just make sure the measurements are set before I place it on this. I'm about to call my neighbor Steve, and hopefully he answers his phone, and I need to pre-drill these things, but it'll be the same way that I did it with the pocket screws before. I haven't decided if I'm going to glue it or not. Anyway, that is how I laid it out. I couldn't get a hold of my neighbor, so I think I'm going to give this a try myself. I don't know if you can tell that I'm used to working alone. That was easier than I thought. So you can see I'm a lot more proud of this side. This side's been done really well. So now I'm just going to line up where it needs to go. I'm just going to measure and check. I've got it evened up, and I guess I'm just going to hit this with 120 and get to staining it. here's the finished product. I'm gonna let it dry for a day before I put the first coat of poly on it. I figured it's gonna take a couple days for me to truly finish it with the poly. So I'm just gonna show you what it looks like now. It'll just end up having a little bit more of a gloss on it. So the joints came together pretty well. I probably would have, if I had it to do over again, I would have taken more time sanding the 4x4s. There were, I guess, just some imperfections that came out in that. This is just common lumber, but I didn't really realize that they were as rough as they were, but it's a farm table, you know. Overall, I'm really satisfied with it. I think it's beautiful. I ended up doing 3 coats of white and 1 coat of poly on anything that you can see. So I've been real happy with just wiping things off the polyurethane. So I am going to I think enjoy having that finish on there. But all in all, it was a great project and I enjoyed doing it. It's fun and I got a really beautiful table. Thank you for watching. Tune in for more DIY, and if you don't already follow me, I'm building a homestead in the Ozarks, so follow along if you'd like. I'd really appreciate it. Talk to you later.